Hey guys, so I am here to do what my daughter has suggested is called a story time. And she said that it's when you tell a personal story, which I'm confused because whenever I am telling you guys anything is personal. So how is a story time different from me posting? But anyway, it is what it is because I'm confused. Story time, vlogging, isn't it all just a post? Anyway, so I came on here to share, as part of my journey in coming to Thailand. Part of it was also to seek other types of medicine outside of what I was receiving in the United States. So just to give you a story, a brief history, I have been sick since 2019, on and off. It started with my daughter. My daughter was in a traumatic accident. She actually fell inside of a Sheetz gas station. And when she fell, she dislocated her knee, which severed her popliteal artery, which caused her to almost internally bleed out on the floor there, and lose her leg. She also dislocated her elbow. And so, so for probably about a good year or so, she was, more than a year probably. She was in dire straits, and I became her caregiver, and that was in 2019. And so we literally had to turn our first floor of our home into a hospital, like a hospital room for her. We had to have a hospital bed, a portable toilet, all that stuff, because she literally could not go up and down the stairs. And at the time, her bedroom was on the second floor of our home. And it was crazy. It was a crazy, crazy time. She had to learn how to walk again, all kinds of stuff. And so I had to stop working at that point and take care of her because, like I said, she had to come home. And she came home with an X fixator in her arm and in her leg for 4 or 5 months before she began going to rehab, something like that. Anyway, during that time, I developed an ulcer. And as you can imagine, and it turned into something else over time. So I developed an ulcer, got treated for an ulcer, but then after the ulcer supposedly healed, I was having major intestinal issues, just very unpleasant ones. There was no consistency to whether it was solid, whether it was, fluid, whatever it was. Whatever I was eating was making me sick. It was just ridiculous. And so I was back and forth with Duke Hospital, just having work done, having blood workups done, having endoscopies, having colonoscopies, having MRIs, having CAT scans. It was ridiculous. Like almost every 90 days I was in the hospital because I would get dehydrated from just throwing up, and then it was just it was happening to me like every 90 days or so. I would have these crazy ass flare-ups and just be sick as a dog. And so after several years of this, because what happened is we went into COVID, and then that became a whole nother issue with seeing a doctor. And then when COVID was released and I went back to the doctor, they still kept treating me for what they didn't know I had, which to me is crazy because you're just throwing stuff at me. I guess that's why they call it practicing medicine, which in my opinion, a doctor shouldn't be paid the full amount until he stopped fucking practicing. Because in what, I'm a guinea pig, I'm an experiment. I don't understand that. That's crazy to me. But you're giving me stuff, but you have no idea what's wrong with me, and no one could tell me. Irritable bowel, Crohn's, nothing. They were testing me for everything, supposedly. Okay, so I spent, like I said, since 2019, sick up until last Wednesday. You heard me correctly. So from 2019, the summer of 2019, until a week ago, well, no, Wednesday, last Wednesday, I've been sick. And just trying to medicate and take care of myself. Tallulah. Tallulah. So, anyway, what happened was I come here and I finally go ahead and schedule me an appointment at the Bangkok Hospital in my location here in the Hua Hin, Cranberry area. And I see a gastro guy, and I sit and I talk with him, and I cry, and I tell him everything that has happened to me over the past 6 years of what I've gone through, and my symptoms and everything. Gave him the full rundown. That was 3 weeks ago when I had that appointment with him. So he says, have they ever asked you for a stool sample? Have they taken stool samples? And I had to sit back and make a mental, in my Rolodex, just in my head, just like, and I said, no. I said, I've had colonoscopies done, and I've had, endoscopies done, and I'm telling him everything, and, I have my MyChart information, with all my stuff in it. But there was never a time when I was asked to basically shit in a cup and let them run a series of tests on me. Well, that's what he had me do. He had me do that over a period of 3 days. And I brought it in, and then I had to wait 2 weeks because he said it was a very, intensive thing. I got that done. I came back into his office last Wednesday, sat down in a chair, and he told me that I had 3 infections in my intestines. And that's what was making me sick. And that's why it was on and off the way that it was, because it would flare up and then it would calm down a little bit. Because I was never, ever not sick. I had learned to just kind of deal with the nausea that I was feeling and make accommodations for it. And when he told me that, I burst into tears. And my husband just held me. And because Charles knew I was crying, because finally someone told me something was wrong with me, that I wasn't just nuts or just going through some whatever. I'm going through menopause, but that was not menopause. And so I said, I have 3 infections. And so he said, yeah. One of them was E.Coli, and the other 2 are, I can't remember the names of them, but before I post this, I'll put them in the description below so that you can have the names of those as well. I just don't feel like going in the house to get the paper to find it. But there was 3. And so, so he put me on a heavy dose of antibiotics that I'm on for 2 weeks. He said, generally you'd be on them for a week. He said, but I want you on them to try and knock this out. And so I've been on 2 different types of antibiotics that I take twice a day. I started those on Wednesday. And then he also put me on Nexium as a proactive for my ulcer, just in case, to be careful. And I'm fine with that. If that's the only prescription that I'm on, I'm good. Because I'm literally on nothing else. No high blood pressure, diabetes, none of that stuff. So, yeah. So I started taking that medicine on Wednesday. And by the time I had a full dosage in my body, Thursday night, I could feel a difference. It was, yeah. So I pray to God that that's truly what it is, because I feel so much better. I feel so much better. Holy smokes. Just being on those antibiotics just has made a major, major, major difference. So anyway, I'm pissed because I've spent 6 years back and forth at Duke Hospital, in and out the hospital, having them give me all these different types of drugs, and they never bothered to just run tests on my stool, especially when I'm telling you that every time I eat and I'm going to the bathroom, I am thrown into these fits of nausea, that I am going from having constipation to diarrhea back and forth. Like, I'm telling you that, and you never once say to me, shit in these cups so we can test you. Even if you you're Duke. You guys saved my daughter's leg so that she could continue to walk, and you didn't have me shit in the cup. I don't understand that. I truly don't. I truly don't. Because I sang your praises to anyone who would listen. And now I'm just like, I spent 6 years in just, oh. But anyway, so that's my story. So to anyone out there who is experiencing some kind of unexplained gut-related issues that your doctors cannot seem to figure out where it's coming from, and you're in the States, I don't know if it's what I have, but what I can tell you is that I would request to have your stools fully checked, like the full examination. Tell them you want the whole kit and caboodle if your insurance will cover it, because I know that that's crazy too. So just so you know, I had I met with the doctor, had my stool sample done with the intense testing, my medication, all that stuff, and it was 26,000 baht, which is like $800. That's what I paid for all that, to have all that done, including my medicine. And I met with this, I didn't meet with a nurse. I met with the man. They don't pass you off to the person and you don't ever get to talk to the doctor and he just, comes in and out and walks out. No. So, yeah. Yep. So that's the deal, guys. I hope my story helps someone figure out what the heck is going on with them, because spending 6 years like this was truly, whew. It was cruel, it was unjust, it was unwarranted, it was unnecessary. So yeah. So, I'll have to see if there's any next moves that I can handle moving forward with Duke. Because y'all are wrong. You know how much money y'all took? When all I had to do was shit in the cup. That's messed up. Anyway, you guys have a great evening.
Get this good loving, good rubbing, good touching, good hugging. Ain't no better thugging than when you thugging with your woman. I'ma make your love come down like rain. Look me in my eyes when you say my name. Come in here and dance with me, baby. Wanna follow and just let you lead. You got that boom shakalaka, call you Shaka Zulu too. Real like Mansa Musa, got the shine on every tooth. Skin like chocolate, mixed with mine, you overdose. So much sugar in this pot, gonna leave you comatose. I'm good loving, yeah. Good rubbing, good touching, good hugging. Ain't no better thugging than when you thugging with your woman. Don't let them streets put a strain on your heart. Don't you lose a good woman playing that part. Them niggas ain't gon' ride for you, baby. But she the type to slide for you, then bring you back to good loving, yeah. Good rubbing, good touching, good hugging. Ain't no better thugging than when you thugging with your woman. She bring you back to good loving, yeah. Good rubbing, good touching, good hugging. Ain't no better thugging than when you thugging with your woman. I spend time in my mind thinking about the word divine, meaning of from or like a god or god, also meaning excellent or delightful. All words I think of when I see you, when I feel you,
your tracks today.
when I touch you, you touch me. It's hard for me because peace is foreign, but you speak my language so well. You're fluent in my love language. How lucky am I to be able to experience, and how lucky are we to be able to love and be loved? This is something for the love.